in this demo, we just want to showcase how easy it is for the user who's using the same Rovius console or CLI or API to provision the resource on Amazon, currently AWS, right? So AWS, just go ahead and launch a VM, Jaydeep, and choose.
So show the zones first.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is once you give your account information, all account Amazon zones will show up over here. And as you can see here, we got some virtual machines, your volumes, everything will kind of show up in the same way. So we got some volumes from Amazon virtual machines and some from the local one. Similarly, the instances are some from the local zone and some from the Amazon zone. So I'm going to just quickly go and try to add a virtual machine. We're using the same wizard, we're just picking up the zone to be the one that we have for Amazon. We'll pick a template. This one lives in the Amazon.
These are coming from Amazon, right? But the experience is seamless, right? And then the size of the VM is coming. Obviously, we pick the flavors from Amazon, etc., and then just provision.
We got VPC networks also showing up here. So we'll pick the network. We'll pick the SSH key in case we want to log into the virtual machine. So the experience is exactly same, and within you should be able to see.
That's an EC2 console, by the way. There.
That's
no, it's not. That's
not there. Yeah.
That's my.
Okay.
That's my last.
Click on something else and go back or refresh it.
Okay, so that's the new virtual machine that's coming up.
It sounds like a simple thing, but actually even having the name there rather than having the name in your part and then some long GUID in Amazon as an abstracted thing.
You mean this one?
It means you don't have to actually manage everything via Rovius. You can use it for some of it.
And then, you can just go there and still.
You can use the native tools as well. Yeah.
Now the next part is interesting, right? How do you connect that particular VM on EC2 to your local resources? So you are on the same VLAN. So you establish the networking between the two VMs here, right?
Yeah, you can provision a VPN today. So we support VPN provisioning, where we automatically provision a VPN endpoint on Amazon on your endpoint. So there's a seamless networking created so it can be in a private network. We're also working on some other technologies where you can actually, VPN's good as long as your routing layer is good, but we're actually working on something where it could be multi-link and you could actually use multiple link in better format, etc. So some more technology is coming up, but we have VPNs provision today.
How is the VPN set up on-prem?
We're an endpoint on a virtual router.
So Rovius itself has a notion of VPC, site-to-site VPN, so that enterprises can connect to. Remember, we are used as public cloud provider as well, right? It's used by public cloud provider customers. So they also use the site-to-site VPN feature that we have in the product already. Right? We are using that feature and tweak a little bit to align it with what Amazon EC2's endpoints need. And then we orchestrate both the ends carefully so that you get this up and running.
So the endpoint would be between AWS and Rovius, and then from there you do routing?
No,
or you're pointing Rovius at like a VPN concentrator or firewall or something?
No, the VPN and the whole orchestration is part of Rovius stack, right? So we will create a VPN endpoint in the customer's account VPC. Let me see if I can pull up a.
On both ends, there is a public address for your endpoint externally exposed. There is a public address exposed at the AWS end. We are creating a VPN between those two public addresses.
Yeah, but you got to terminate that IPsec tunnel endpoint into something that can do encryption.
Into our virtual router here. On
Okay,
our end, there would be a
that's
virtual
the-
router
okay.
where it terminates. On their end, there is a VPC,
Got it.
VPN construct within AWS. So we orchestrate the whole thing. You don't have to know what is going on. We'll create the customer endpoints. Everything will orchestrate it. That's what he's going to go through.
Got it.
Okay, this is just to give you an idea. This is what we are automating. Right, we got a VPC over here on the Rovius side. We got a VPC on the AWS side. We got a subnet on Amazon side. We got a subnet in VPC over here. And we are putting up the private router, private gateway over here. We are setting up all the 3 or 4 constructs that you need to carefully wire up with those ugly IDs to kind of make this work, right? And what we are kind of trying to take that and put it into a simple thing. I have a VPC here. I have a network in there. I have a VPC in EC2, and I have a network in there. So we'll pick one of the networks over here, and just say go. Now you can see we'll set up the Amazon side.
You will see it being provisioned now. You'll automatically see that there is a VPN endpoint getting
Actually,
provisioned.
I kind of forgot to show. I got 2 windows here, 2 shell that are private IPs. And the local VM is trying to ping the virtual machine on the Amazon side using its private,
And it's failing right now because the VPN doesn't exist.
right? And as the link gets set up, you'll start seeing connectivity between the 2 VMs.
Can you also apply a security profile to that VPN tunnel so that only certain endpoints can use it?
Well,
In VR, is there one?
oh, I
Is there
don't
an ACL in
know.
VR?
Today we set up VPN just between the 2 VPC. So the only this VM on the VPC then goes through that. Then you can apply. You can apply firewall rules.
Yeah.
Then you can control, say, who can access what if you want to add additional access control on that. Yeah.
But I can't, as a function of standing up the tunnel through Rovius, say, and here's a security profile I want to apply to this tunnel.
We don't have that additional as a part of the configuration.
Right.
You have to set up firewall rules in different places, but you can do that.
Okay.
So we are doing a bunch of stuff. We are setting up a customer gateway here, virtual private gateway. The VPN connection, this takes a while on the Amazon side, and will take a few minutes on our side as well to kind of set this up. But the idea is again going through all this and traversing and putting it together is vastly simplified.
Do you have some sort of policy fix-it-upper? Because you create the VPN tunnel between 2 endpoints. Someone then goes into the Amazon account and deletes it or reconfigures it or does something over there. You've then lost connectivity between the 2 clouds. Can Rovius help to restore that?
We recognize that there are actually issues where we are creating a sort of console of consoles. We are creating a parallel console here to manage the Amazon endpoint. We thought about, do we replicate the Amazon data here so we can, right now, the approach we've taken is we are dynamically binding what the endpoint here is, what the endpoint there is. If there is a problem, you would just see that the other endpoint doesn't exist. So we've taken the approach of not saving the config and doing a synchronization between the endpoints and saying that, well, this should have been there, that is not there. We've taken a slightly more dynamic approach where tying these services together dynamically and showing. You would see that there is a problem, but you won't know that I had created it one point in time, someone had deleted it on the Amazon end. You don't get that level of visibility right now, something that we need to work on.
I suppose people would also then lock down access to Amazon that only Rovius could set up and destroy those connections.
Right now, the way it works is it's one administrator account on Amazon. You actually don't get end user login to Amazon today. You look at Amazon. The way we are foreseeing this working is IT has one massive account. And they've created this account and they've added this as a zone. As an end user, they're not giving you access to that Amazon endpoint. I mean, you're going through these APIs in order to get there. That's the way we have built it. Now, the admin can create an equivalent account for you on Amazon, and give you access to that, then you might be able to go, mess around with it. But right now, sort of assuming only IT guys log into the Amazon.
Well, the whole reason for using Rovius is that
You don't need that.
You don't
Exactly.
need that.
Yeah, but that not from an app person point of view, but an IT administrator, you're going to have
Might
a
have gone
VPC.
up, made a
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
And we got our link set up. We got both the VMs talking to each other. And I'm assuming, so on our side also we've set up the gateway, etc., and the VPN endpoint is also available connection. So that kind of concludes.
Yeah, so we're pretty close to the end of time now. I don't know how we're set up on time now. We had a few more demos we wanted to do. I don't know if we have enough time or not. We want to do the Kubernetes as a service demo, analytics as a service demo, etc. What we'll do is we'll package up a few videos and send it to the delegates so you can take a look at it. They're easy to consume videos, so you can just take a look at it. There's no voiceover in them because we were intending to do the voiceover actually in the demo. But we'll send out stuff. You can take a look at how trivial it is to provision a Kubernetes cluster, or Hadoop and Share Insights, and we'll send videos of how easy Share Insights itself is to use.
Can I just ask one thing? Obviously, this is all infrastructure focused, and it looks as though it's a great automation tool. But businesses are caring more about the apps. And yes, you can set up a Kubernetes cluster or a VM-based cluster. What are your thoughts on, well, actually, I want to orchestrate application deployments, and I want to be able to install different stacks of applications rather than just fudging around with all this boring infrastructure stuff?
Again, as a directional statement, we've been, we can spin our own paths or just support Cloud Foundry. So we might go the route of just supporting, Kubernetes-based orchestration or Cloud Foundry-based orchestration and say that, look, this problem has been solved elsewhere. Use Cloud Foundry. We'll make it easy for you to enable that in this cloud. But we want to stop there rather than go and reinvent things that other people are solving really well. That makes sense? Because you could go and automate provisioning of any application cluster using Cloud Foundry today.
Okay, so you then seeing you're going to be staying as a cross-cloud infrastructure orchestrator, and yes, you will. If you're doing containers, it'll be Kubernetes-based. If you're doing VMs, it'll be directly Rovius-based. But you don't have any ideas to move further up into the app stack for the app stack provisioning.
Not at this time.
Okay.
Not at this time.
That's why we want to deliver everything as a managed service. So Cloud Foundry as a service, Kubernetes will allow you to deploy container services, everything.
We are doing our
doing the
own
management.
app layer stuff would make sense. For instance, analytics as a service is clearly our own. We're working on Concert, the whole IoT ingestion processing. We will launch that on top of this as well as our own. So we would get into stuff our own, but from an orchestration perspective, we sort of, we think the world is solving that problem, and we let the world solve it, and we'll support the existing supports out there.